Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
All right, welcome to Kermit the Frog and Coaching Youth Hoops. You don't think I sound like Kermit the Frog, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I guess I'm so used to it during the basketball season.
I know, this is so bad. It's so bad.
Loud gym, right, Coach? You're not yelling, it's just a loud gym.
It's not, it's a cold. That's what it is.
Oh, is it?
It's not, yeah, yeah. The parents notice it, though, like when they talk to me and stuff. They can. I have a deep voice anyway, but this makes it progressively worse.
Yeah, you have a great voice for podcasting.
Yes, but not when it's like raspy and I sound like I smoke two packs a day or something this time of year. But anyway, before we jump into the topic, we want to give a big shout out to our checklist, right? First, our season checklist.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that came up in our surveys was, when do you start planning for the next season? And the overwhelming majority of coaches start planning right after the last season. And I think that's, get a jump on your season planning. Go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist. We created a very large checklist for you that literally has everything you need to plan your season. It'll give you fresh ideas, thoughts of what you need to look at, from everything from offense to defense to all the parent information and post evaluations and tryout evaluations, everything. So go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season checklist. And game changer.
Else? There you go.
So go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops, one of our favorite apps and tracking apps for youth coaches. It's free to you. And now that we're coming up into the spring and summer AAU seasons, go check that out. It'll give you all the stats you need. If mom and dad, grandma can't be at the game, they also have live streaming. Go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops for more information.
All right. So what are we going to talk about? You already kind of tweaked it a little bit here about the parent forum. I know I do.
Yeah. This came up in a Facebook discussion, our Facebook group discussion. If you're not on our Facebook group, it's a lot of great questions and answers on it from coaches from around the world with lots of experience. Like this one guy today had 40 years of coaching. It's a long time.
It is a long time.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He this I wish I had this idea. He was talking about how to cut down on parent complaints. Okay. And one of the things that he does is he asks for parent expectations before the season starts. What's important to you? What's important to that what's important for what your child needs to accomplish this season. Some open-ended questions, some ratings, but it was I thought that was a great idea from that perspective. Like, ask the parents what they expect. So when a problem arises, you can go back to them and say, "Well, you told me that fun was the number one thing."
Right.
Right, and not playing time, this, that, or the other. And if you're using Game Changer, you can see how much playing time each child has. It's another way to cut down on pair complaints. Record every game. So I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know if you've done that, very specifically, not just for your players, but for the parents.
Yeah, I mean, we've always done that in our preseason meeting. We've always handed out kind of player expectation, parent expectations, and then kind of had them fill out a form of kind of what's expected for what they expect and what we expect. So, and then that tends to take care of a lot of the communication or lack of communication. So yeah, I mean, we've always done that, and especially with a player and parent expectations. What is expected of a parent in the stands and blah blah blah, and then what's expected of the player. And then we talk about rules and all that kind of stuff too. But I think over communication is the way to go in all of this.
Yeah. Talk to me though, but what is since this is really about kind of focused on parents and set in getting their expectations for their player, what is on that, some of the things on that list for parents? And one of the things you brought up was coaching from the stands. That's on my list, right? Don't coach from the stands. But
yep. And then
why? Right? And then what do you do if they're coaching from the stands? And what are some of the other things on that checklist of yours?
So we talk about, expectations about their player, like what do we expect academically? How can they support their player academically? How can they support them with nutrition and sleep and and phones and curfew and all those things? So we talk about being that.
And again, you're talking about high school players too, just to be clear.
We are. And then we also talk about the expectations after a game. I go, and I use.
What do you mean about expectations after a game?
Couple things. We have a 24-hour rule where they can't, they shouldn't talk to
parents. Can't.
Parents,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
But what they should be saying, I literally walk them through what they should be saying to their athlete.
You do? Oh, yeah.
Like, don't talk about not pivoting on the right foot. Talk about, hey, did you have fun? What'd you think? Let them process it a little bit. Don't coach them,
Yeah.
So, that's more for off-season kind of things. So we talk about that. And then we talk about, kind of things that they can do outside of the basketball. Like we talk about team bonding, parent dinners, things that they can do to help build a cohesive group. Cause that's what I'm ideally want is that they're friends 10 years from now. That's what I tell the parents. I want them to still be, they're not all 15 of them going to be best friends, but they're going to be enough that, they're acquaintances at least, or they see each other and they can talk and catch up. And so we talk about how we can build kind of that community. And that's a big one for me is because it's hard because at any point on any team, there's like two happy people.
At any point, at any team, you're saying there's only
players.
two happy people?
Yeah,
players.
Because the fifth player thinks they should be the third player, and the second, the seventh player thinks they should be starting. I mean, again, I'm a math person. It's like,
yeah,
and happy is probably not the right word, but they're always, So it's like kind of fitting into their world is where I'm trying to help them process that. And then the last thing I talk about is kind of how this is like we're trying to teach them life lessons about fitting into a specific, and I don't put this necessarily on the form, but I definitely do it on the conversation about part of growing up is figuring out where you fit and how you fit. And it's like a workplace thing. You got to fit into a group where you're not always going to get along with everyone, and you're not always going to see eye to eye, and you're not always going to agree with the decisions your boss makes or your coach makes. How do you deal with that? What do you do about it? And how do you adjust to it? And those kind of things. So I talk to the parents about, like, how can you help your player do that? Because that's part of the growth that I think youth and team sports help a lot with.
Yeah, and I think that's, and again, I don't want to go down in that tangent, and we can talk about that in another podcast. But I think that's what's missing in youth sports are the life lessons, especially travel ball, right? That seems to kind of taken a different path, right? But okay, going back to the expectations, or let's say if they're well, let's finish this discussion on expectations. So again, parent expectations of their child. What are you hoping to see on that form back from parents? If it's an open-ended, or even if it's like if you're asking them, rank these things in order. So they'll think those things might be play or what's important to you, playing time, fun, they learn
Right.
some skills, life lessons, etc.
So before we do that, let's give a big shout out to Game Changer Coach before we dive into that topic.
Yeah, coaches, go check out gc.com/coaching youth hoops for all of your stats needs, in-game stats, post-game analysis, and even they do live game streaming. So parents, grandparents can see the game if they can't be in the stands. Go check it out at gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
All right. So what am I looking for? I'm not, to be honest with you. I want to see what they think, because different groups have different feels. It's really weird.
Okay. Talk to me, dive into that a little bit more. What does that mean? Like, what have you seen in your 40 plus years?
Thanks. Making me feel old. I've seen the competitive groups. I've seen the team building groups. I've seen I just want my son to feel good about. I mean, it's just, and I don't tend to do a range. I tend to do more open-ended questions because I want them to be able to free flow. So that's where I can get kind of more of a sense of where are we.
Okay. Yeah.
And especially, where's the difference between and again, high school, a senior parent and a sophomore parent. The sophomore parent maybe is just happy they're on the team and maybe get on the court. Senior parent wants. So I'm trying to gauge, because their gauge in the play, I tend to get a truer input sometimes from the parents and the player.
Okay.
It's weird in that sense of where they kind of sit and what they're kind of looking at. So it's kind of, again, I'm taking data dump rather than a scale. I'm not necessarily looking for a scale. I might do the scale at the youth level for sure, though, with a fun. I would do both. I think
both. Yeah, but why? Why so? Why do you think more at the
because ours is
level?
The fun part is kind of there's a difference between travel ball and high school ball. It's like there just is, and no one's paying to play for me. There's a consequence. There's a thing there when you pay to play, quote unquote. And there's some expectations, I think, that come along with I'm spending $5,500. Is my kid not going to play? Where at a high school team, there's maybe a user's fee, but it's a high school, it's like,
right.
It's a little different in that sense. So I think how you set up these forms would look a little bit different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense. So at the youth level, then, come on, more of a rating with open-ended questions. Do you think? Well, then, how do you use it? So, again, let's go back to your example of, because this is one of mine too, like parent expectations. Don't coach from the stands. I brought that up in the parent meeting the other day. And I talked about the psychology behind why you don't want to do that. And, I even tell the girls, I said, you're going to make a mistake in a game. I don't want you looking up at mom or dad. If you look up at mom or dad, I'll tell you like, hey, look at me. We have this whole thing about the red dot and the next play and how you overcome those types of challenges. But if you're looking at your parents and your parents are coaching from the stands, I'll just, I'll make it really easy for your parents to come talk to you by putting you on the bench. Come down and they can talk to you all they want in your ear and whisper and you can do the rest of the game from the bench. I just think it's gets so confusing for the kids that you have to kind of get drastic in that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I agree. I mean, and again, it's hard. It's hard. Some of these, especially when they're young, they don't know. Like the young,
Right.
young player, younger parents, but they just don't. What are expectations? They just want to know where they kind of fit. I think is a big part of it. Don't you think?
I'm curious. This is more from my curiosity. Do you find any less or more coaching from the stands from parents who have played at a higher level versus those that have not?
I don't think there's a correlation there. I
Okay.
don't. I think there's an investment correlation. The ones that have spent more time developing their son or daughter, or that, I think that's a bigger correlation than one of
That's
them. Because I've had
interesting.
parents that have played and not. I mean, I
Yeah.
played, and I never I'd keep. I mean, this is my son's thing.
Yeah.
But there's people. I think it's more of it's weird. It's an investment. It's investment in time. It's an investment in money. It's an investment. I think there's more of that correlation where it tends to escalate the coaching from the stands. That's what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, purely observational study from the stands teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to say that, hey, I, go to this URL to download our parent evaluation or parent feedback. Because I'm creating mine right now. Like I don't have it all thought through, and I haven't really done it specifically for parents. I've done it for players. It's probably not going to be too much different, but it's gonna. This topic was important because I wanted to. Because I think it's something that we should think about as coaches to get those expectations from parents as well as the players. What do you want to accomplish?
Right.
On
I
both
agree.
sides. So,
All right. So let's give a summary of that, Coach.
yeah. So I think again, going back, I think it's important to ask those questions of parents. Ask them what their expectations are. It can be just a simple, Google form that says, what are your expectations for your player? Open-ended questions. You can, ask them to rate certain things that you feel are important, but also kind of the written expectations from you. One of the things we talked about is, don't coach from the stands, right? Get your players to the practice on time, because we have limited practice time. Make sure they're, fully clothed, they have their shoes and they have a ball, right? Those types of things. And then whatever else you believe in as a organization, for us, as Coach mentioned too, community is a big thing, leadership, right? I try to empower my kids. So whatever those things are, just keep it short, tight, and but now if you gather that info, now you have something you can use when issues do come up.
No, that's and we've said this a multitude of times. Over communicate.
Yeah.
Over communicate. It will solve 97% of your problem. It won't solve 3%, but it will solve 97. All right. Till next week, Coach.
Till next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family's schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things, like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's SKYLIGHTCAL.com/talk.